So there were a few people who were a little upset about that, but for the most part, no one seemed especially angry. You know, they do keep bringing out these large pallets of water. It has been disappearing very quickly. But just to be clear, this boil water advisory only affects California American water customers in Imperial Beach, Coronado customers south of Fiddler's Cove, customers in portions of San Diego and Chula Vista, all just served by California American Water. According to the company, this is all due to positive E. coli results found in the drinking water. So I talked to people out here today who were picking up their free water, and here's what they told me.
It's a mess. It's a mess. It's been like that since last night. So we'll see. It's probably going to be here all day.
I'm more looking at this for like my dog, you know, washing dishes, you know, taking a shower, you know, just kind of rinsing things off. You know, I mean, we can still boil the water, and, you know, that's how I had to do dishes this morning.
And just before 10 a.m., that is when the company ran out of water. They put up a sign telling people they had run out, but they were going to get more. They actually went car to car, letting people know. So there were some people who've been waiting in this line for about an hour. Just minutes ago, they did start handing out more water. So back out here live, we do note the San Ysidro school district shut down all of its schools today because of this boil water advisory. We understand that they get some of their water from this company. We do know you can still shower. You are just told not to drink the water. If you want more information about best practices under this advisory, you can go to CBS8.com. As of right now, it's in place until Sunday evening. Kelly Hessedall, CBS 8.
A big disruption, to say the least.
Yeah, long line there behind her, that's for sure.
Yeah, hopefully that gets fixed rather quickly. Meantime, happening today, new state funding will help predict pollution for Imperial Beach and Tijuana. Scripps scientists say that the money will help manage and protect the coast as well as our health.
CBS 8's Chris Grote live sharing some new information from these scientists here. Chris?
Ready? Good morning, everyone. My name is Nora Vargas. I'm the chair of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors. And I want to thank you all for being here today to share this information. I think most of you have heard that there's a boiling water advisory that was issued by Cal American Water, directed by the State Water Resources Control Board, Division of Drinking Water, due to some of the samples that tested positive for E. coli contamination. The County of San Diego wants to make sure that our communities are aware of an urgent response happening, and it's specific and important to mention that it's in the service areas of Cal America, in the areas of Imperial Beach, Silver Strand and Coronado, the Nestor community, and portions of Chula Vista. The county has been working closely with the state, the water agency, and other local agencies in response to the situation. Want to make sure I emphasize that our county emergency operations has been activated and is setting up coordination events for all the city, with all the city emergency managers as well. Our county OES team will also be having an opportunity to share a survey with impacted businesses to be able to document the impact and follow through with any support that they may need in the response. Cal-Am is conducting an investigation of the system to determine the cause of the contamination. Once the source is identified and repaired, the system will need to be flushed, and then the 2 rounds of cleaning samples are needed before we can actually lift the advisory. The system is single pressure zone and has 17,219 services connections, and approximately about 106,000 people or population have been impacted. Again, the cause of the source of the E. coli contamination is unknown at this time, and that's important to emphasize. It is critical for us to receive accurate and timely information from Cal America and the State Water Board so that we can share it with our communities. We are asking the state to work with Cal-Am and provide up-to-date information that's impacting our region. We're asking that they communicate with our community members, businesses, schools, healthcare facilities, as much and more that have been impacted by this situation. And we need more communication and action by the state and Cal-Am. We need to be able to make informed decisions with public health implications. It's important to also note that if you need to pick up water, if you live in these areas, currently Cal-Am has a pickup location in Imperial Beach on Palm Avenue, and they are working on other opportunities to have distribution locations as well. There is a list of schools that have been provided that folks are available. We have been working with local superintendents and school districts to ensure that they have all the most accurate information. And in the meantime, we want to...
Latest on the boil water notice, everyone that's impacted there, and some...
While the water advisory is in effect, they should use bottled water or boil tap water for drinking, brushing teeth, and to prepare and cook food. When boiling water, make sure you bring it to a full boil, at least for a minute, and then allow it for it to cool before use. I'm asking to make sure that all of our public and communities please follow the CDC guidelines for the water boil notice as well. It's important to mention as well that particularmente para las comunidades habla hispana, que quiero asegurarme que estén informados sobre lo que está sucediendo. La advertencia de hervir agua, es muy importante que la información que estamos ahora presentándoles a todos es específicamente para aquellos que viven en las comunidades en donde se les provee el agua por medio de Cal America. Entonces es importante que vean su estado de cuenta de quién les provee su agua, o preguntarle a si son inquilinos en diferentes apartamentos, que pregunten de dónde viene el agua, porque esa es la única entidad la que está impactada. El condado está trabajando con el estado para que las agencias y las otras agencias de agua puedan responder a esta situación inmediatamente. Esta advertencia está en las páginas de web, en todas las redes sociales del condado, y el problema, pues, no sabemos exactamente de dónde viene. Le hemos pedido al personal del condado de San Diego que haga todo lo posible para pedir más fondos estatales para poder asegurarnos de este tema. Estamos en contacto con los distritos escolares, con las diferentes regidores y las ciudades que están representando estas comunidades, en particularmente, como comentaba, las áreas de servicio de Cal America, que vienen siendo donde está la ciudad de Imperial Beach, el área de Silver Strand que está yendo hacia Coronado, la comunidad de Nestor y diferentes áreas de la comunidad de Chula Vista. Así que, por favor, les pedimos a todas las personas que para lavarse los dientes, para cualquier cosa de tomar agua, por favor, es importante hervir el agua por lo menos 1 minuto y después, ya una vez que esté fría el agua, se la pueden tomar. Más información vamos a dirigirla con ustedes. Entre más informaciones tengamos, más vamos a dirigirla con todos ustedes. Pero es importante que todas las personas sigan estas recomendaciones porque más que nada queremos que su salud esté intacta. With that, I'm going to ask our Director of Environmental Health and Quality, Amy Harbert, to please join us to provide additional information. Amy?
Boil water situations are incidents that we prepare for, and we have systems in place, and we're ready to respond. The Department of Environmental Health and Quality has reached out to the approximately 300 impacted food facilities in the area. If you're a restaurant or a food facility in the impacted area and you've not already discontinued operations, please do so. It's unsafe to prepare food, wash dishes and hands if E. coli is contaminated in the water. The county's Department of Environmental Health and Quality has duty specialists that are available to assist restaurants and provide guidance on how you can modify your operations. Restaurants should contact duty specialists at 858-505-6900 so that we can help provide you with some guidance. Now, some guidance for the general public at large in these impacted communities. Please use bottled water or boil water for drinking and preparing and cooking your food. If bottled water is not available, bring water to a full rolling boil for 1 full minute. Do not use water from any of your appliances that are connected to your water lines, such as ice and water from your refrigerators. Brush your teeth with the boiled or bottled water. Do not use tap water that you have not first boiled. In many cases, you can use tap water and soap to wash your hands during the boil water advisory. Just be sure to scrub your hands and wash with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, then rinse them well under the running water. Be careful not to swallow any water when bathing or showering. And for those with families with young children and babies, use caution when you're giving them a bath. You may want to give them a sponge bath to reduce the chance of them swallowing any water. Thank you, and we'll have information available on this guidance, which is also on the CDC website on the County News Center.
Hi, my name is Holly Porter. I'm the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for the county's Public Safety Group. As the chairwoman mentioned, our operational area emergency operations center has been activated in response to this event. What we've been told by the water agency at this point is that 17,000 homes and businesses are impacted by the boil water order. We have also been told that they have contacted the customers for whom they have contact information. At this point, we will be working with the 4 impacted cities in order to get an alert and warning message out so that if the water agency did not have contact information for some customers, that they do get the message of this boil water order that is in effect until further notice from the state of California. Our Emergency Operations Center will also be coordinating communication with the impacted cities. We'll get information out to you, as the chairwoman indicated, about an upcoming survey. We realize that there are not only health impacts associated with this event, but also economic impacts. She mentioned a survey that we will be posting on our website, and we would ask for your help in getting word out that impacted businesses should start recording impacts that they are seeing related to closed businesses if they're needing to do that in order to protect public health. That will help us at the Office of Emergency Services to articulate to the state and federal government what the overall economic impacts are, and if we meet thresholds, to be able to bring in assistance if it does reach that level. So at this time, I want to turn it over to Dr. Eric McDonald. He'll talk more about the public health implications for this event. Dr. McDonald?
Thank you, Holly. Actually, my job was made easy because Director Harbert actually went over the specific things that the public needs to be aware of. I would emphasize that the water is okay for other uses. The thing you don't want to do is basically ingest it, because the bacteria that have been detected can cause gastrointestinal or diarrheal type of illnesses. And if you may use the water for other purposes. I would emphasize specifically that people get in trouble when they forget about the ice maker in their ice machine, if they're brushing their teeth, or if they're bathing small children. The small amounts that small children can sometimes inadvertently ingest can cause, again, those types of illnesses, as we've discussed. A little context is that this is the reason that we, before a major storm event, asked folks to have bottled water and stored water available, because after a storm event, it's not unusual to have potential contamination of water supplies. So we would expect this after a storm, and do hope that people have stored water and to use it judiciously for ingestion purposes and cooking, and use the water from the tap for other purposes. I'd like to specifically mention that we in the Public Health Services have reached out to the facilities that are medical that are in the affected area. There have been 3 clinics, 5 intermediate care facilities, and 28 residential and long-term treatment facilities that have all been proactively outreached by our Public Health Services team. Each of those facilities needs to have a plan and had a plan in place in case there was a water issue. And in fact, we've had no resource needs identified. One specific facility asked for some technical advice, which we've supplied, but those specific facilities have in fact been able to adapt to this boil water event. I think that's all I have, and I'll turn it back to the chairwoman, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. With that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Yes, when were you made aware of the bacteria?
Around 11:30 a.m. yesterday.
Yesterday. And also, so we don't know what caused this, right?
Not at this time. I think what's really important is that as soon as we were informed about the bacteria, we got as much information out as we could, working closely with Cal-Am to make sure that folks who are being impacted know about it. And so we're going to continue to monitor and keep you posted as we find more information.
When do you anticipate this being resolved?
Well, we are in the process of getting as much information that we can. We are hoping that in the next 24 hours, we'll have additional information for our communities. As I mentioned before, there has to be a process of ensuring that there is no additional particles. Is there anything that you want to add to that?
Yes, just to add, the water system has shared with us that in order to be able to be in a situation where the boil water advisory can be lifted, there has to be at least 2 clean samples that come back. And so sampling is happening daily, but you have to have those 2 clean ones before the system is cleared to be able to be up and operating again.
Can you touch on school districts? Do you have any information about that? We know San Diego had to, besides close down.
I want to thank the superintendent of San Isidro for, taking an abundance of care based on the information that she had at the time. I think what's important is that we're working with Cal-Am to make sure that we are very specific about where and what are the school districts that were impacted. And so we're working really closely with them. We just got off a call right now to make sure that they were aware. And so we have a list of the school districts. We're happy to share that with you. But I want to thank the local superintendents. They were on calls last night up until the middle of the night trying to get sure that they get the information. And the important thing is to keep, to continue to provide information to the public, but also to ensure that folks understand that this is really specific to the service areas that Cal-Am is actually servicing. And so sometimes that may be confusing because of our region, but we're getting as much information out to folks as we can. So thank you for that question. You know, that we are waiting to get additional details. It's a lot of the southern portion as of now, but I think we have asked CalAIM to be very specific. They have a map up that you can go and take a look at. And so as soon as I get more details, I'm happy to share that with you.
Mike, as in Channel 8, been asked to ask you two questions. Has anybody been sick? And then the other one was the mayor had a positive test on Monday. Knew about this on Monday. Why did it take so long?
The mayor, I'm not sure.
Of Imperial Beach. It says the mayor of Imperial Beach says there was a positive E. coli test came back on Monday.
So the information that I'm sharing with you is the information that we have, which is the most accurate information. And so I think it's important to emphasize that right now we're going to get to the bottom of this and find out where that was. But I can assure you that our county team has been working really closely with Cal America to make sure that this information gets out to the public. I think there's a lot of folks providing information, but I think what's really critical and important is to note that our scientists are making sure that we gather this information, that we're working closely with the state, and we're getting this information out to the public. One last question? Oh, yes, sir.
If I can answer the question about illnesses related to this event, we have no known illnesses that are related to this event, no outbreaks that have been specifically tied. We do a daily syndromic surveillance of how people present to emergency departments, for example, and we've seen no change in the numbers coming in for gastrointestinal illness. We would expect to have a little bit of a delay between exposure to contaminated water and development of symptoms, and then perhaps some time for people to go and present for medical care. So we wouldn't expect to see something, but that may show up in the next day or so, and we will watch that very, very carefully.
Yes, really quick, how long do you expect people, if they were to get sick, the symptoms to seek testing?
Well, the specific type of bacteria that have been detected here generally have incubation periods or times between exposure and development of symptoms. I would say on the average of 48 hours. It can sometimes be as short as 12 or as long as 96, but I would say about 48 hours. If you're past 4 days, you're pretty good, I would say.
So you mentioned that for restaurants it's not safe to be open because of the dishes being washed and their employees, their hands being washed with this water. But how are residents going to shower in this water? You know, it's their whole body that they're showering, but it's not safe to only wash their hands or wash dishes. That's right. For washing dishes or anything that you will ingest, boiled water or bottled water should be used for that. In accordance with the CDC guidance, it is okay for washing hands and showering, just not to allow any of that water to get into your mouth and to ingest it.
Again,
Thank you.
Yeah, if I did want to emphasize is that, it's not that you don't have to use water for any reasons. You can use them for all reasons except for when you're going to ingest it, because that's where the danger is coming from. And we ask for a few precautions around specific people who might inadvertently swallow water while they're showering or being bathed. And that's generally young children. But it's perfectly okay to use water for other purposes, non-potable purposes, we say specifically. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and thank you again to the media for sharing the information with our communities. Extremely, extremely important. Appreciate it. Thank you. Sí, claro.
Para saber acerca de cuándo anticipan que este problema se solucione.
Bueno, estamos ahora trabajando con los científicos y con Cal America, que es el proveedor de los servicios, para identificar que ya no haya ninguna partícula, ¿verdad?, en el agua. Una vez que ellos decidan que no hay partículas en el agua, tiene que haber es un proceso que tienen que ellos que aprobar antes de que podamos darle la luz verde a las personas para que ya no tengan que estar hirviendo el agua. Así que vamos a estar al tanto. Esperamos que en las siguientes 24 horas tengamos más información para los televidentes. Así es. El condado de San Diego, trabajando con el estado y las personas que se dedican a ese tipo de emergencias, nos informaron ayer a las 11 de la mañana lo que había sucedido. Entonces, en cuanto supimos que esta partícula de E. coli estaba en el agua, dimos toda la información a las comunidades lo más pronto posible. Estamos trabajando con los distritos escolares y pues más que nada para pedirle a la comunidad, ¿verdad? Aquí lo importante es no ingerir el agua. Se pueden bañar con ella, pero es importante que con los niños que son pequeños, que no vayan a ingerir el agua porque ahí es donde pueden tener problemas gastrointestinales y como comentaba el doctor, pueden ser hasta 48 horas antes de que las personas se den cuenta que algo les cayó mal o que les hizo daño, ¿verdad? Así que vamos a mantenerlos informados y tenemos toda la confianza en que vamos a seguir trabajando junto con el Estado y con Cal America para que tengan la información necesaria. Gracias.
La recomendación por último para los restaurantes en el área.
Sí, la información con los restaurantes es que ellos están trabajando directamente con el condado, ¿verdad? Primeramente vamos a pedirles que ellos llenen un cuestionario de investigación para saber cómo los está impactando, porque no solamente es un impacto de salud pública, pero es un impacto económico para muchas de nuestras comunidades, pero estamos no solamente trabajando con los restauranteros directamente, pero también con la asociación de restauranteros para que ellos tengan la información a lo más pronto posible. Así que muchísimas gracias a todos una vez más. Thank you.